everybody. Welcome to Wax Boss Wednesday. We didn't have anybody join us live tonight, but we still want you guys to have information available on the YouTube channel. So tonight we are going to talk about how we meet a good bit of our customer base or share ideas along how to meet new people. And Becca's going to get us started. I think she's going to talk to us about meeting people at events.
Hi, everybody. For those that don't know me, I'm Becca and I live up in northern Minnesota, and I've been a director since 2015. I've been a consultant since 2011. I thought I would just touch base quick on events because thinking back over the years, a big part of my customer base, as well as different team members that we've had for my frontline throughout the years, have come from events. And when I say events, I mean they can range from like small little craft fairs at like a community center that someone held, a holiday event, or a big home show that I've done. And we're from a smaller area. So when I say big, to me it's big, but it's probably not as big as some of you guys that live in bigger cities. But I do it's amazing to me, like when I look back through the years, like I said, the amount of people that have come from just meeting people at events. Some events I've done, most of them, I would say I do have cash and carry at them. Some you don't. But with that, you're always not going to have what people want. They're going to, they might come to your booth and they might ask you questions on they're looking for something, and it just sparks a conversation with them. And sometimes right away they say, oh, I'm so glad to see you because I don't want to have a consultant anymore. My consultant quit selling Scentsy, or oh, I just moved here, and things like that. And that just gets the ball rolling for a conversation. And then of course with that you can chime in if they're looking at something at your table or whatever, if they're going to buy something directly, or if you don't have it, that you can order it for them. Some people like to, very few, I should say, I would say like a handful over the years said, oh, I want to have a party. Like they come up to you and they just say that they are very interested in having a party. And actually one offhand that pops into my mind was a lady that came up to me and she said she wants to have a party. I was doing a county fair and all excited, and she booked this party, and from her party I met one of my top team members that I have, and she's producing a good team, and she's still with me, and she's been a consultant since, I want to say 2013. I'm sorry if I'm wrong right now, but I was hoping she would pop on tonight, but I haven't seen her yet. And it's fun to look back and see that trickle effect. And another example would be for events is there was a really small event that I had in town. I was at a place in town. This lady she fell in love with a scent. She wanted to host a party. She ended up knowing somebody that lived down south that ordered, and because of her order, she joined. She never really sold very long, but then someone joined under her, and since then she has become a rock star on the team. It's a total trickle down effect. So when you think of doing events and meeting people, it may be team members, it may be lifelong customers, it may be hostesses that will host for you every couple times a year, things like that. So you just never know. Some events, like I said, are small, some are bigger, some are $20, some are more. But it all comes down to, who's there, striking up conversations, try to engage and kind of feel like if they're looking for something in particular, if they say, like, I like that, but I can't afford it. Well, there's the opening of your conversation of maybe book a party, try to earn it for free, things like that. So with that, I'll just leave you with that for right now. I just wanted to kind of say that that's events, if you have the opportunity to definitely to have a booth at an event, big or small. Even the small ones pay off big in the long run.
I would absolutely agree with that. I kind of got my business going with events. Whenever I started, I also started in 2011, but when I started, I didn't really have any support from friends and family. And a lot of people think if you don't have a big circle to start with and you don't have the friends and family support and all of those people aren't buying from you, that you aren't going to be successful. And I am living proof that that's not true. When I had my launch party, not a single person showed up, zero were in attendance, which was kind of disheartening, but I'm like, I'm going to make this work. I was determined and I was not going to let that stop me. And so I just started looking for different ways to get my business out there. And events is one of the ways that I got going too. And it's interesting. I loved how you talked about the trickle down thing, because at some point, I don't remember when it was, but at some point in my business, I started keeping track of where I met people, partly just to kind of help me remember who they were. If I wrote down like I met them through this person or through that event or whatever, it kind of would help it click in my mind who they were. And so I started doing that. And there was one day I started looking at I think it was one of my really good customers. And I started wondering, how did I meet this person? How did I get connected to them? And so I started backtracking. I looked at who I met them through, and then who I met that person through, and who I met that person through, and like backed it up to, and I think it was like some small event or something. And years ago, I had, she's still a customer, but budget problems, kind of prevent her from buying as much as she used to. But she used to be like super popular, like busy customer, whatever. She was ordering all the time. I met her at an event that was a total flop. Like, I don't think I sold anything, maybe 10 or $20. It was horrible. And she didn't even buy anything there, but I met her there and we visited and talked and, kind of got to know each other. And she came to be a customer later. And this was way back in the day when we had Grace Adele and Velada, and I sold both of those too. And she actually started as a Grace Adele customer. I had to think which one she started with, and she was obsessed. And then that went out, didn't go out, well, kind of went out of business, whatever. But she started buying Velada. And I would try to get her into Scentsy, and she's just like, not interested. But then Velada went away, and she finally tried Scentsy, and she was obsessed with that. And she's bought so much from me. But she came to me at that event that it was a total flop. And so that was kind of where I wanted to go with that. Like you said, even if it's a little bitty event, or in my case, even if it doesn't do very well, you never know what could come of it. And you never know what those conversations might lead to. So always go into it with, who knows what this could bring you. Who knows what this relationship could turn into. I've gotten plenty of hosts from events and plenty of recruits from events. Becca, same for me. One of my biggest rock stars in my whole group I met at an event. And so like, that's a great way to meet people. But then also, just to go kind of transition into a different way, parties, obviously we're a party plan company. And so parties are a great way to introduce people to Scentsy and get them started with our fragrance systems and start to build our customer base, because, we don't want to just keep selling to our circle, our friends and family. We want to be able to expand, and you're never going to be able to build a big business, and you're never going to have a sustainable business if you don't go outside that circle. And one of the ways that you can do that is through parties. And so if you're offering parties to people so that they can earn free stuff, maybe it's not in their budget to buy something, then like Becca said, you can offer a party to them so that they can earn it. Maybe somebody's just like really social and outgoing, and you think they would be a fun person to have a party with. Sometimes those people are fantastic and have a lot of connections and can help you build your customer base. So you can talk to people like that so that you can you could do Facebook parties, you can do home parties, you could do text parties, you can do bag parties. There's all kinds of ways to party, but that gets your name out in front of a lot of people. It gets you associated with Cincy, and people realize, oh, here's a Cincy girl that can take care of me. But then the important thing is to follow up. Don't just have that party and then drop off the face of the earth. You have to continue that relationship. You have to continue checking in with them. You have to follow up once they get their order, and, have a whole system for that, which we can talk about in future Zoom meetings, but that's definitely important so that you can continue that relationship and continue to build it up. So events and parties, definitely. And then Heather will let you wrap it up.
So yeah, I mean, kind of similar story. Of course, I've been around since 2011 as well. But
Yay for 2011.
I know. So yeah, I started with an event. I did Grace Adele and Velada. The very first event I did was a rather large one, but I did it with Velada. And the next year, their Cincy person didn't come back, so I was able to pick up Cincy, and I did that for years. And I just kind of wanted to add, Becca was talking about, doing different sized ones. I honestly think I've gotten the best return from the smaller ones, ones that are like a fundraiser event where, entry is a donation of some sort, or that sort of thing. The cheaper booths, I don't know, for some reason those have tended to get me the biggest benefit over the years, but I've also had some that were just absolute flops from a sales perspective. But I was able to meet some really good people and follow up with them and say, hey, it was great to meet you, and stuff like that. I honestly haven't been a huge party person, but most of the parties I've done have been bag parties. And those, it's always good to get the scents under noses when you can. Right now in the season that I'm in, I actually get a good bit of my customer base from random website orders. Of course, in order to be on the consultant locator, you got to be at lead consultant or higher. And I guess there's not that many of them in our area. So I get the opportunity to be that person for a lot of people. Also, where I'm at, I'm really centrally located to a couple of 4 pretty large size cities. And I would say the key to that whenever I get the orders is taking care of those customers, making sure to thank them really quickly when they order, staying in touch with them as far as when something ships, asking them if they got everything okay and how are they enjoying it. I mean, just super simple follow-up system to make sure that I stay in touch with them. I've also got a mailer program so that they get a thank you from me in the mail the next month and that sort of thing. So again, that's a system or a thing that we can talk about further down the road on how we stay in touch with customers. One other thing I wanted to touch on really quickly, for meeting people, I actually kind of binge watched a little bit of Kimberly Polita's YouTube channel last week, and I came across one that
She's awesome.
She is amazing. But it's on Facebook marketing. So it's not just
she does a lot of that.
using your social circle. It's how to actually use Facebook Marketplace in compliance, because she's really good about making sure to know what our standards are and how to follow them. And y'all, I literally did not know that we could just post stuff from the catalog. I mean, I knew we couldn't post stuff from stock, but it had just never dawned on me to go grab images and just share the link. I did a first round last week. I haven't gotten anything off of it yet, but I think these ladies will agree with me that when you start something, it's not just like, oh, well, I did it for a week and nothing came of that, so it's a flop.
Yeah.
You got to go back and do some more again and see what happens. I was just kind of playing with it to see what happened. And it was some of the, warmers, and maybe it was pricier stuff. So maybe this week I'm going to go back and do like a 6-pack of wax and see how that goes. And
6-pack for what? Did you see that post?
Yeah.
I loved that. Somebody made it. Well, yeah, because we were talking about it in our message and I changed the price.
Right.
I thought that was cute.
Yeah, I think that's cute. So
Yeah.
I know I'm a homebody and I'm an introvert. So it is hard for me to meet new people. Even though, I'm involved at church, I'm involved in kids' activities, I just don't have that gene to walk up to people and be like, hi, how
Same.
are you doing? I'm so glad, and I'm just not, I never have been. And at 46, I'm probably never going to be. So you got to find your space and your niche and what's going to work for you. And Facebook's there for everybody, and there's a bajillion people on there. So there's lots of space there to grow, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that's an important point too, because a lot of people think that you have to be a salesperson, or you have to be an extrovert, or you have to have lots of friends, you have to know lots of people. And I mean, we know that's not true at all, because I'm an introvert. I don't have a ton of friends. I'm not out there like being Miss Social Butterfly. I'm a homebody, wherever our home is. And like, it's just that's not my thing either. And I've been able to build a successful business. So you don't have to be that. I think it could be great if you do have that.
Right.
I've seen some people that are like really outgoing and super social. And I'm like, man, if only I could be like them. But then, we all have our strengths.
Yeah.
We all have our weaknesses. We're just
funny.
different.
It's kind of funny because I too feel like an introvert. That I'm not a
You
very,
what?
I too feel like I'm an introvert. Listening to you girls talk about
Yeah.
I'm like, that's totally me.
Yeah. Yeah. And here we are.
Yep.
All three
And
of
here
us,
we are.
doing fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the other things I did really early on was I did a fundraiser. I did a fundraiser for my son's
good.
daycare at the time. He was 3, just before 3 when I joined. Turned 3 like a month later. But I did a fundraiser, and it's one of those things where if you're okay with giving up the PRV to do the fundraiser, that's a really good way to meet people.
For sure.
Yeah.
I did a couple of them through there. In the years he was there, and I got 2 team members from the fundraiser. So
Nice.
those are, that's like somebody else doing the advertising, or, you've got kind of a captive audience, or however you want to look at it, but it's a good way to get your name out in the community.
Definitely. There's some people that do some very successful fundraisers too. If you have a connection like with school or a sports organization, or, something like that, you could do so well. Becca, I know you know Christy. Heather, do you know Christy Sutton?
Yeah. We sat together at leadership and on the boat.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. She does a fundraiser for their school every year, and like does thousands of dollars. It's just like, it's incredible how big it is. And
That's
she's
awesome.
done really well by doing that. Yeah. We could have her come and speak about fundraisers or something sometime.
Oh, we should.
That could be good too.
That'd be fun.
I'd like to hear that.
I've never had the connection to get into something big like that. I've done little fundraisers just for, individuals or little organizations or something like that. A handful over time, but I've never done something really big.
Yeah, and I think that's kind
definitely a great way to get your name.
Yeah. And maybe a not so spammy way to connect with people on your Facebook feed. Like there's a couple of people that I've seen in my timeline in the last 2 weeks who have kids who are doing fundraisers. One's doing a fundraiser for, I think, a mission trips for spring break. And I don't remember what the other one was, but it's like people I know from high school. It's like, you don't want to be that spammy person that all of a sudden drops in their messengers like, hey, I'm a Cincy consultant. Don't you want to buy from me? But it wouldn't be so bad to say, hey, Becky, I saw your post about, and try to be as specific as possible to call people by names and you know, and that sort of thing. I saw that your daughter's trying to raise money for this mission trip. I think that's fantastic. I would love to help. Would you be interested in a fundraiser through my Cincy business, and go from there.
Love that. Yeah, that's a great way to do it.
Definitely. Yep.
And again, it's opportunity to meet new people.
Yeah.
And if they say no, it's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is you have to get used to hearing the word no. And I think that's one of the things that stops people from continuing because they'll get told no. And then they're like, oh, I can't, I'm bothering people. And you're not bothering people. And I love the analogy. I've used this tons and tons of times. And I've heard it taught tons and tons of times. It's just like going to a restaurant. You know, the waitress walks around asking at the end of the meal, would you like to order dessert? A lot of people will say no. Some people will say yes. Has nothing to do with her personally. She just is offering that because that's something that you can get. But people are going to say no because they don't want it. Maybe they're full. Maybe they don't eat dessert. Maybe they don't have the money. You know, there's a variety of reasons. And it's the same thing with our business. Like some people might say no, but it doesn't mean that we can't ask other people, or it doesn't mean we're bothering them. It just means they're not interested, and that's okay. So we have to be able to hear the word no and then just move on to the next person, because the more no's you hear, the closer you get to the one that's going to say yes.
I think another, you know, along the lines of my family, close family and friends don't buy from me. Mine do not. Mine have not for years. I mean, I've got I have customers who've become friends over the years, way more than I've got friends who became customers.
Me too.
And I don't think anybody in my family orders beyond myself and my husband. And yes, my husband has his own Scentsy Club. He just does.
He really? That's awesome.
He does. But that doesn't mean that your friends and family don't still know people and might be willing to give you a referral. Even existing customers that you have could give you a referral. I know a lot of consultants have a referral program where if you know, as the customer, if you refer somebody to them, then you'll send them something as a little gift. I personally I do a scent circle. It mails with one stamp. It's not a big deal. Hey, thanks for the referral. I really appreciate it.
That's what I do too.
So that's another.
Referrals can go a long way too. And if you take care of your customers, they're going to refer people.
Yeah. Trying to think of anything else. Oh, one thing, something new I'm going to try. I watched Thursday Night Shift a couple of weeks ago because Becca was watching it and said something about it. Like, okay, I'm going to go watch that today. So I watched that while I worked. And Kelly Petticord, that's not her name. Smith? Is that her married last name?
Yeah. Smith.
Yeah.
Is it Smith? I can remember.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Smith or whatever it says, I think. Yeah.
Anyway, they were talking about one of the things to do in February is to make sure you're getting rid of all of your fall winter business supplies. So your testers, your catalogs, your product sheets, all of that jazz. Just get it out of the house, whatever way possible. And they were talking about mailers, which I do mailers, and I got rid of a lot of product sheets this month of mailers. But she even said something about, you know, we're talking about mailing it because we've got customers all over the country because we moved around a lot. But you could also just put it in a basket on your front porch and put something maybe in a neighborhood Facebook group or a neighborhood thread or whatever that says, you know, I went back and actually rewatched it tonight because I'm like, what all did they say they were putting in there? Semi-annual sale goodie bags.
Nice.
So you
That's
mark
a great idea.
That the catalog's 10% off or whatever, and you know, and put samples in there. For me, I've got a ridiculous number of testers after 12 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting old testers in there. And I'm just gonna, you know, put a little stool and a basket on my front porch. We've got a Facebook page for our own neighborhood and be like, hey, stop by.
That's awesome.
That's a good idea.
That. Yeah. That's definitely a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, worst case scenario, I'm getting some of those testers out of the house.
Yeah.
Best case scenario.
Well, and the thing is you never know when that might come to benefit you later. Like maybe it doesn't get an order this month, but maybe they get some and smell it. And then like 2 months from now, they're like, hey, I got some stuff a while back from you, and I was just thinking about that. I've totally had that happen before.
Right.
Like you think you didn't get the customer, but then they contact you later, or they get online and order, and it's $100 order. Like you just never know.
I am aware of a consultant. I don't remember if she's a star director or superstar director, but she tells the story of being at a rodeo and stopping by somebody's booth, and she picked up their catalog because they were handing it out, threw it in her purse, and it was months later before she pulled that catalog out, and she was like, oh, I would kind of like to do this, but I don't want to be connected with somebody who's wherever she was because it was out of state. And she, found somebody closer. So she's in Tulsa, and I think her sponsor's in Oklahoma City, and she joined, and she's a upper level leader.
I think I've heard that story too, or one similar if it wasn't the same story.
Kaylin.
Is that who it was?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think it was Kaylin that I heard the story from. So maybe it was just one similar, but I've heard one like that too. Isn't that amazing?
Yes. And I think, we talked about trying new things and not giving up after the first go around. I think that's the long-term part of it too, is like, it really may not be something that you get a quick return on. It may be down the road a piece.
Yeah. This is a marathon and not a sprint.
Yes.
It's something that you have to really just take time building. And some things you'll see the fruit of your labor immediately, and some things it might be years later. I've even had customers that like they ordered something from me and then didn't for like 4 or 5 years, and then they come back and order. So sometimes people just go a long time. Like I don't know what they're doing in between, but don't count them out.
And spring is a great time to try something new, just because it's a whole lot less frantic of pace as far as Cincy is concerned. I mean, sometimes lives get a little crazier if you have kids in spring sports or that sort of thing. But, we don't typically have as many limited time offers coming out. We don't have, there's not a harvest brochure and a holiday brochure. And it's a little more, you can really focus on the basic nuances of the business. And it's a great time to try something new.
There's not a new news tab article every single day anymore. I keep opening it like, is this working? There's nothing new here. We used to get one like every day.
What was it last week? I think somebody was on director page. I was like, go mango's all we've got coming Monday, right? Because I don't even think they did a new article since, we'd had the article for the consultant kit, the early access.
Yeah.
I don't think they even posted a new article last week.
Yeah, I think it just updated or something.
Yeah.
Definitely different than the fall.
Yes. Rachel or Kim, do either one of you have any questions? If you don't want,
I was just about to say the same thing.
if you don't want to unmute to speak, you can always use the chat box too.
I don't have any questions at the moment. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch the live because I missed like the first half of it.
No worries.
I'm good.
We're glad you guys could join us live.
I think it's kind of funny that none of us have been to World Tour yet.
Nope. Saturday.
Still waiting for next weekend.
Poor Becca. It's going to be one of the last ones.
My home office coach is going to be at yours.
Your what?
My home office coach is going to be at yours.
Oh,
Julie.
who was that?
Julie Timmig.
Okay.
Chuck's going to be at ours.
Is he really?
Mm-hmm.
I missed that.
Yeah, he's on our route.
Okay. She mentioned who our site leaders were, and they are not people that I know.
I haven't heard that.
I mean, as far as I think Chuck just, he's just the, I don't know, exec that kind of goes wherever.
Yeah, it's usually superstar directors that are site leaders.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know that's Jamie Solon's, but I mean, the official
Oh, is it?
home office presenters, I guess is a better way to put
Oh,
it.
gotcha.
For
Gotcha.
our, you know who I saw was because on our Facebook page, I had seen her comment on something that she was going to be there. Was that Meredith Eckert? You know how she's always posting stuff on the director page? I don't even know who she is or where she lives. I don't think she lives anywhere near here, but yeah, I was like kind of
She's a
surprised
superstar
that
director, isn't she?
I think so,
I think so.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I
I've
don't
seen-
think like from this area or like, you know, I don't know.
Maybe
That's
she's
not a
got
name that
team
I
members.
yeah, I was kind of surprised.
I know there's several superstar directors that have gone to multiple events.
Yeah.
I think I have a feeling that's what's happening more is that they're going to more and more. So someday
Traveling to go with
I'm
their
gonna
team.
come down and see you guys.
Yep. All right, I think we're done. So I'm going to stop the recording.